of the things we do when we're not building wonderful world of boxes is we're getting stuff around like this, man. You get into books, and you try to pull out all the cards you can pull out that are good, that, you know, are in really good shape. If you find a good collection, you're lucky, you know. Sometimes you find some pretty cool stuff. Like this right here, you know. You gotta be out hunting all these collections down. Try to find all these things, you know. So, makes for a wonderful day when you're going through all this stuff, man. You'll spend a good portion of your day doing this. Anyone that ever goes on Whatnot or whatever and wonders, you know, like, hey, what this stuff costs or why, you know, there's always those questions about what stuff costs or why it costs so much, man. A lot of these sellers on there, they put a lot of work or effort into getting this stuff going. You know, it's not like you just go out and find one little thing and then away you go, man. You got to be out hunting collections all the time or buying storage units. And then sometimes you hear people say, well, you know, how do you live with yourself buying a storage unit? You know, that was someone's stuff or whatever. That, yeah, but not always. Like, sometimes people let them go. You know, there's all kinds of situations with storage units. Sometimes people just decide they don't want them, so just let it go, and that's just the way it is. I mean, it ain't always the case, right? Sometimes it is, but you know, you got to go through there, and you gotta deal with all the uglies. You know, people think, like, you see a lot of clips, man, where people show them going through there and finding all these treasures, and I'm not saying they are, but a lot of them are staged. People showing what's in there and what's not. They've already been through it, because when you go through a unit, man, there's, I think in the units that we bought, man, we've gotten units that had, I don't even know, man, three or four truckloads full of trash that you had to go through. So you're shifting through food and stuff like that, and then some of the stuff you find, it just ain't even any good anymore, you know. So you got to kind of deal with that. But there's a lot of folks too, like I said, they think like, well, you know, you guys charge an arm and a leg for this or an arm and a leg for that. Man, there's a lot of time involved in this. For me to build one team box, it probably takes about 4 hours. And then all I really sell that team box for is about 45 bucks. Now, maybe once you get all the stuff together or whatever, it might be a little easier to go through and build team boxes. But I mean, you got to go through everything. There's an awful lot of stuff that goes along with this that people just don't think about, you know. They think like, oh yeah, it's just super simple or whatever. Man, it ain't nothing simple about it in one way, but it's fun. It's fun. I ain't bitching. Just saying, it's just, you know, when folks are watching and think, well, oh, you just sit down and do it. No, man, it ain't like that. But that seems to be the thing, though, isn't it? You know, folks think all the time, like they see a business or something, they think, well, these folks charge too much or whatever. And it's like, man, there's business expenses involved in that. Now, I'll give it. Anybody who watches this video, probably don't know how long it'll be. I'm going to ask one question. I don't want anyone who watches it answer it in the chat, you know. And be respectful, man. Be respectful. But regardless of where you are political, what do you guys think of this whole, like, people getting more money working in fast food places? Because, like, I can see it. It's definitely not a livable wage, you know, and I can see that it's not. I know it's not, man. You can't live off that, right? But asking them to give you a higher wage is great, because now you get a little bit more money. But the problem is let's say you're at 13 and you're going to go to 15 or whatever. Well, the guy down the street who's been working for 16 his whole life, he ain't going to get an increase because you do. So now he's going to afford stuff less, right? And you're going to afford stuff the same, because the reality of it is that business you work for, they ain't going to take the hit. You know, they're going to raise their prices so that they keep making the same amount of money. So it's sort of like it's a trap. And I don't know how the heck that can ever be fixed, you know, because the argument is you can't interfere with the free market or whatever, but I don't know. Anyway, I just wonder what you guys think of that, you know. What do you think of the wage increases and stuff like that? I think it has to happen, but at the same time, we can see the effect of what happening when it don't, right? Because I know a friend of mine and I were talking yesterday, 1993, you could get a double quarter pounder, a medium fry, a double hamburger, and a large fry for $8 at McDonald's in 1993. Now, you can't touch that for less than $20. And that's a direct result of having to pay more wages. That's just all there is to it. Because the place that owns it, man, they ain't gonna pay no more money. They're not gonna do it. They're not gonna shell out more cash. But anyway, tell me what you think on that. But enter there. Just thought I'd do a really quick video so you can see kind of what we do. Show the videos of a video of me building up boxes. Right now I'm not even building up boxes. I'm just getting cards ready for a show probably. You find good cards that you can you think you can push or hope you can push. You know, things that people like, you know. And it can be hard to find them sometimes. You know, sometimes you gotta hope you can dig. And like with us with the boxes, man, I don't try to take stuff out of the boxes. I rely on finding boxes and books in a collection, because if I do, that's where I can get some stuff that I can actually sell separate from the boxes. Because I just try to leave the boxes just that, unsearched boxes, so people can find treasures as well. So we gotta find big collections. But anyway, man, like I said, I thought I'd quickly record a video and throw it up on there so people could see it. Let me know what y'all think about stuff, man. Anyway, everybody have a good time, man.